That morning, the forest woke slowly, like a living body rising from a long fever. Mist still clung thickly to the low canopy, dripping heavy drops that sank into the dark mire lying motionless in the hollow below. The air smelled of wet earth, rotting leaves of a night rain that had passed, yet left its aftertaste wedged into every root and crevice. And it was there inside that innocent-looking dip where a young life was being held in place by soil and fear. The baby elephant lay on its side, half submerged in mud, its small legs flailing weakly. Every movement pulled it deeper. Its eyes, large, black, glistening, stayed wide open, reflecting the pale gray sky above, as if trying to memorize the last shape of the world. Its breathing came fast and uneven, its chest trembling with each shallow draw, releasing broken, choked sounds that never quite became a full cry. No herd, no mother, only the forest silent in a way that felt cruel. No one could know how long it had been trapped. Perhaps since midnight, when sudden rain softened the ground and broke the skin of what had seemed solid. Perhaps it had wandered along an old trail, distracted by the scent of fresh grass, unaware of the deadly hollow waiting. For something so young, a single mistake could turn into a sentence. Then another presence appeared. A dog, no one knew its name, or where it came from, stood on the higher edge of the mud. Its coat was stained with red soil, its body lean but tough. It did not bark. It did not leap in. It only stood, unmoving, brown eyes fixed on the giant calf struggling below. There was something strange in the way it watched. Not the stare of a predator, not idle curiosity, but a taut, deliberate attention as if it were trying to understand, weighing a danger larger than itself. The calf thrashed again. A thin, childish trumpet burst out, shattered in the wet air. Mud splattered its face and ears. It was far larger than the dog, but in that moment it looked unbearably fragile. The dog stepped back once, then froze. It lowered its head, sniffing the air, fear and desperation thick as smoke. In its chest, survival instinct collided with something deeper, something hard to name. At last, it moved forward, not into the mud. It circled the rim carefully, claws digging into firmer ground. When the calf lifted its head, their eyes met. No shared language, yet a raw recognition. Both were alone in a world too vast. The dog sat down. Right there. A low sound rose from its throat, not threatening but steady. Tail still. Body facing the calf like a silent marker. Its message was simple, almost foolish in its purity. I'm here. Time slowed. The mist thinned. Light filtered through leaves, laying pale gold streaks across the mire. The calf stopped thrashing, perhaps from exhaustion, perhaps because something in that gaze eased its panic. Its breath stayed quick, but no longer frantic. The dog did not leave. Flies began to gather. The wind carried dampness and danger. Any other creature might have fled to save itself. But the dog stayed as if leaving were impossible. By midday the sun warmed the edges, drying the mud slightly. The calf tried to move again, weak, desperate. Instantly, the dog sprang up and barked a single bark, loud and final, ripping open the forest's quiet. That sound wasn't for the calf, it was for the world, and somewhere far away, something heard it. That bark, only one hit the wet leaves and old trunks like a stone thrown into still water. It spread through the mist, struck the unseen walls of the valley, and returned like a challenge. Someone is dying here. Someone must see. The dog stood at the rim, throat dry, legs braced as if ready to leap if the calf panicked again. But the calf no longer had strength for panic. It only breathed like a creature clinging to the thinnest thread tying it to life. Mud hugged it like a heavy blanket, holding, smothering. Now and then it let out a soft, broken cry, too weak to travel. Each time, the dog stepped closer, then stopped a sleepless guard with no other skill except to remain. To an outsider it might have looked pointless. A dog beside an elephant, a ridiculous mismatch. But the forest understands what humans overlook. Salvation doesn't always begin with strength. Sometimes it begins with the decision not to retreat. The wind shifted. The scent of a far stream drifted in. And then faintly another sound threaded into the forest. Human footsteps. Light. Careful. Hesitant. The dog snapped its head around. Its whole body tightened. The warmth left its eyes and became cold vigilance. It barked again, short, rough, this one not a call but a warning. Come closer, and I'll decide what you are. A man emerged from behind a tangle of ferns. He did not look like a hunter. No gun, no long blade, just an old backpack, muddy boots, and a wooden stick for the trail. His face was sun-browned, his eyes deep with the fatigue of someone who had walked too long and found too little. He froze when he saw the dog. Then the calf and the world inside his expression changed from surprise to shock, from shock to a flooding fear. "My God," he whispered, mostly to himself. The dog did not move. It positioned itself between the man and the calf like a shield. The man raised his hands slowly, palms open, making himself smaller. It's okay, I'm not here to hurt you." Still the dog growled low. Trust isn't given freely. It must be laid down, patiently. The man looked again at the calf. It had nearly stopped moving, eyes half open, drowning in exhaustion. He stepped back slightly, reminding himself, one wrong move, and the calf sinks deeper. One careless sound, and the dog attacks. And if the herd is near, if the mother returns, he will stand inside the storm. He inhaled and pulled out his phone. The screen glowed weakly in the forest like a firefly. Miraculously, there was signal. "Uncle Two? It's me. At the grass hollow, there's a baby elephant stuck in mud. Please fast." When he hung up, he looked at the dog, then the calf, and felt something rise strange yet familiar. The feeling of being handed a life that isn't yours, like a silent plea. He didn't know why the dog was here. He didn't understand its stubbornness. But he understood one thing. If he turned away, that breathing would stop. He approached the rim carefully, not stepping in. He tested the ground with his stick. The mud trembled, its surface rippling like a mouth hungry for anything. The dog watched every motion. Then, when the man paused, the dog stepped closer, not too close, just enough to stand beside him without touching. It looked up. Not with trust, but with a question. The man whispered, "Did you find it? Have you been here long?" No answer. But the dog looked to the calf, then back at him. That look tightened the man's throat. It held the weariness of one who has guarded too long, and the stubborn refusal to collapse before someone arrives to take over. A loud crack sounded from deeper in the forest, heavy, deliberate. Not wind, not a human, a broken branch. The dog stiffened, hackles up. The man's blood cooled. The herd? Or something else? Another crack closer. Then a deep rumble, rising from the earth, an adult elephant's call, long and furious, like a mother shouting through panic. The man swallowed hard. He gripped the stick. The dog didn't run. It stepped forward slightly, as if telling the forest, "To reach the child, you go through me." The man turned to the dog, voice strained. "Go, it's dangerous." The dog did not go. It barked longer, louder, less a threat than an answer. "I'm here. I won't leave." And through the calf's wet breath, through the man's pounding heart, something formed. A silent alliance between beings of different species, united by the same fear and the same refusal. The trees ahead shifted, the ground trembled, and then, through the thinning mist, a massive shape appeared, slow, heavy, unstoppable. The mother elephant. The mother stepped out of the mist like a breathing mountain. Mud clung to her legs in thick slabs, veins stood out beneath her gray hide, and her ears fanned, not for coolness, but to steady the panic surging inside her chest. Her eyes were red-rimmed, not weakness, but the blur of desperation stretched too long. Each breath blasted out like hot smoke, heavy and broken. She stopped. Only a few dozen steps from the mud's edge, yet those steps were the distance between instinct and restraint, between power that could crush everything and the terror of harming her own child. She trumpeted deep enough to shake falling leaves, deep enough to vibrate inside the man's ribs. The calf answered with a thin, exhausted sound. It lifted its head, then dropped it again. Its eyes searched for its mother like someone searching for light in a tunnel. The dog stood between them, a tiny period before a sentence too large. It didn't bark now. It simply stood, small body leaning forward, hackles raised, yet eyes strangely calm, as if it understood that noise no longer helped. Only presence did. The man's legs went soft. Instinct screamed, "Run!" But he looked at the calf, and in the mother's voice he heard something older than animal. He heard mother. He stepped back, hands high, palms open, making himself harmless. Easy, easy. The mother did not understand words, but she understood rhythm. She understood stillness. She held, tense, but did not charge. Then the dog did something that stole the man's breath. It stepped backward toward the calf, lowered itself, and lay down belly to the ground, head low. A posture of humility and firmness, telling the mother with its body, "I'm not taking your child. I'm only guarding it from death." The mother drew back half a step, ears fanning hard. She lifted her trunk, reading the air. Human, dog, mud, blood, chaos. She trumpeted again, shorter. Not a warning now, a question. "Is my child alive?" The calf's weak exhale answered. Then voices came, human voices, closer. A local rescue team appeared. 2 men and a woman with ropes, shovels, and a wooden plank. The older man leading them stared at the mire. "Damn," he murmured, then at the mother, face tightening. "This is hard." About whiff. The woman with the medical kit watched the mother's posture carefully. She's in protective mode. If we step into the mud, she might charge. The man who had called for help took 1 step forward, and the dog instantly sprang up, blocking him, growling. Not hatred, warning. "Don't rush. Don't break what's barely holding." He stopped. "I'm the one who called." The older rescuer looked at the dog. His eyes softened. "It's guarding the calf?" The woman nodded. "And keeping the calf calm." I was. In that moment, they stopped seeing the dog as an obstacle and began seeing it as part of the solution. An invisible emotional anchor holding the calf within the edge of endurance. The older man signaled everyone to slow down. No shouting, no running. First, loosen the mud behind it. Make a slide, then pull, and pull with its breathing. The woman took out water and cloth, crouched low at a safe distance, speaking gently, not to be understood, but to transmit calm. The calf couldn't reach. The dog stepped forward, sniffed the bottle, then returned and licked the calf's forehead, quick, light, as if reminding it, "Stay, don't let go." The mother saw. And something in her fury paused. The dog was caring for her baby. They began digging softly, placing the plank to prevent sinking. Mud resisted like a greedy fist. When the calf tried to shift, the mud slumped and pulled its hip down. The calf cried out. The mother surged forward. The earth trembled. The dog barked once. Sharp ran a short distance toward the mother to check her momentum, then immediately retreated and lay down again. Head low. A strange, risky act. Setting a boundary, then lowering itself to avoid triggering rage. The mother stopped. She exhaled hard. Her eyes moved from dog to calf. Not trust permission. A raw, temporary surrender. "Do it. But don't hurt my child," the woman whispered. "She's accepting." "Quick, but gentle," the older man said. They looped rope around the calf's upper body, avoiding its neck. They slid the plank beneath its chest. Quietly, the older man commanded, "Pull." The rope tightened. The calf groaned. The mud sucked and protested. The mother called once, then fell silent, silence aching with helplessness. And in that hardest tension, the dog moved close and held position near the calf's trunk, so the first thing the calf saw was still the same pair of eyes. "I'm here." Little by little, the calf slid upward. Mud released its grip like a hand unclenching after too long. At last, the calf flopped onto firmer ground and breathed out a long breath like something surfacing from deep water. The forest seemed to stop breathing. The mother rushed in, not to trample, not to shove, kneeling, wrapping her trunk around her baby, pulling it tight to her chest. She trumpeted not anger now, but a breaking open joy. The calf trembled, tried to stand, buckled. The mother supported it with her body. The dog stood still, mud on its legs, eyes fixed as if afraid that turning away for 1 second would let the mire swallow the calf again. But the story wasn't over. Logic said the dog should flee now once the mother had her baby, once the herd might be near. The man thought so too. "Go on," he whispered. "It's done. Go." The dog didn't go. It stepped closer, close enough to make the rescuers hold their breath, then sat upright and watched the calf like it was a promise. The mother lifted her head, looked down at the dog. No threat, no trumpet, only a thick silence, like an ancient ritual. Then, slowly, she lowered her trunk and touched the dog's head, light, soft, fleeting. No one breathed. The dog didn't move, only closed its eyes briefly, receiving something no language can name. A thank you, a recognition, and still, the dog stayed, as if being pulled from mud wasn't the same as being fully saved. The calf was weak, the mother was shaken. The forest remained dangerous, and sometimes, a life only truly returns when someone stays long enough for it to believe it won't be abandoned again. The sun sank westward, light turning soft and long, throwing trembling shadows across the damp ground. No one said it aloud, but everyone felt it. The sharpest danger had passed, yet fragility remained, like a crack not yet healed. The calf stood, but more by will than strength. Its legs trembled. It leaned into its mother like a feverish child. The mother never left its side, turning her massive body into a silent shield. The dog remained. It didn't move closer, but didn't turn away. It sat angled toward the calf at a careful distance, near enough to be present, far enough not to provoke. Mud caked its fur, drying in the afternoon wind. Its eyes softened, but brightened each time the calf shifted, as if its focus had been wagered on that small life since morning. The rescuer woman signaled retreat. "We've done what we can," her gesture said. "The rest belongs to the forest." They backed away slowly. When they looked back from the trail, they saw it. Mother and calf pressed together, their shadows merging in sunset light, and the dog seated nearby, small, but not out of place. The forest reclaimed its rhythm. Birds returned, insects rose, night's scent crept out from the dark hollows. Time passed. The calf finally sat, heavy, breathing steadier. The mother touched its forehead and back with slow certainty, sealing doors against fear. The dog stood, took a single, careful step forward, then stopped, never crossing the invisible line. The mother looked at it. No warning. Only cautious acceptance, like allowing a stranger to share the fire on a cold night. As long as they touched nothing, the dog sat again. Night fell. Mist returned, thin and cold. Far away, another elephant call echoed the herd. The mother lifted her head and answered, calm now. She looked to her calf, then to the forest. Leave now, or wait? The calf was still weak. The dog rose again, looked at the calf, then the woods, then the mother. No demand, only a quiet message. I'm here, if needed. The mother understood. She did not leave that night. They stayed on the higher ground by the hollow through the long hours. The calf slept in broken pieces. The mother stood guard. The dog curled not far away, not sleeping deeply, ear always turned toward them, ready to rise at any strange sound. Dawn came slowly, pink light slipping through mist. When the first light touched the calf, it stood steadier this time. One step, then another. The mother walked close. The herd sounded nearer. The dog rose and stepped back, giving them space. The mother led her calf toward deeper forest. When she passed the dog, she paused and lowered her trunk, touching the ground before it, then the air above the dog's head. The dog did not follow. It watched until the gray shapes dissolved between the trees, until the heavy footsteps became forest sound, until only wind and light remained. Then it turned away, slowly, and walked in another direction alone, but not empty. Because some lives don't need to be kept. They only need someone beside them long enough to continue their own path. The forest swallowed the mother and calf like it swallows ancient secrets, closing behind them with woven leaves and sighing wind. No fresh tracks, no more trumpets, only wet earth, crushed grass, and a strange emptiness, an emptiness that follows life passing through, leaving both relief and weight in the human heart. The dog stood for a long time at the forest edge. It didn't chase them, it didn't bark, it only listened, ears twitching to sounds perhaps only it could still hear. The last soft steps of the calf, now dissolved into soil, or maybe its own heartbeat, slowing after a day when instinct was stretched past limit. Then it turned away. Not quickly, not looking back, as if it understood its work was done, and the forest's work, too. It walked down the narrow path in the opposite direction, where there would be no audience, no applause, no one calling its name. Only ordinary days ahead, quiet days, where today's story would fade into the body as memory. But for those who witnessed it, something would not fade. The man who heard that bark returned home late. He sat long on his porch, staring into darkness over old fields, The image of the dog planted between mother and mud, refusing to leave him a small body standing at the border between life and death, not from training, not for reward, only because it chose to stay. He wondered what could make a creature do that. Not duty, not benefit, perhaps because deep in the world, before language ever existed, there is an unwritten law. When a life cries out and you can stay, leaving is what becomes unnatural. The rescue team returned later to check the hollow. The mud had dried. The struggle marks remained, though new rains had blurred them. They never saw the dog again. No one knew where it went. But when they told the story, they no longer called it a stray. They called it something simpler, a guardian. As for the calf, somewhere deeper in the forest, it likely walked stronger. It likely rejoined the herd. Perhaps on a rainy night later, when the memory of mud returned sharply to its body, it would pause, then calm more quickly than others, because somewhere in its wordless mind lived the image of brown eyes that stayed and did not leave. This story has no hero in the usual sense, no victory over an enemy, only a life not belonging to the elephants, not fully belonging to humans either, choosing the hardest thing. To stay when leaving would be easier, and perhaps, in a world too loud with grand things, it is exactly such small choices that keep life moving forward, slow, fragile, but not abandoned. If this story touched you, leave a comment and share how you feel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep spreading stories of kindness between humans and nature.